Okay.
Hi, everyone.
We're ready to go then. And so to break the ice, maybe you can do a better introduction of yourself, because I wasn't able to do that properly. So if you want.
Well, so Alex, I'm indeed co-founder and CEO of Qonto. I hope a lot of you already know Qonto and maybe are already clients of Qonto. For those who don't, it takes only 5 minutes, so you can do it. But very simply put, Qonto is a business finance management solution that simplifies everyday banking, financing, and lots of activities around managing financials for a small business. And so we're addressing freelancers and small businesses in Europe. We're active in 4 markets: France, where we started in 2017, Italy, which is our second biggest market, where we've been for since 2019, and also Germany and Spain. So we have a good overview of what's happening in Europe, at least in these 4 big markets. We are serving today 250,000 companies, and we have more than 600 people on the team in our 4 offices in Paris, Milan, Barcelona, and Berlin. And maybe last but not least, we're very happy to have a very high satisfaction from our clients. We have a net promoter score that we just reached 75 in the last couple of weeks, which is of course super high. So we're working very hard to keep that at that very high level. And so happy to get also some feedback. I met a couple of you earlier today on what's great with Qonto. Also, if you see stuff that we can improve, always happy to learn on those topics, how we can do even better. And again, very happy to be with you. Sometimes I feel like when I see lots of earlier stage entrepreneurs and companies, I feel like I want to go back in time or build a new company and kind of start from scratch again, because I think it's so energizing and exciting to be in that kind of environment and that kind of phase. It's also very tough, I know, but it's also very energizing. So yeah, very happy to be with you today.
Okay, thank you. I forgot to tell you something. If you want to ask questions to Alex, you can, to the people at home, you can go to 𝗕𝗁𝗺𝗺2022.com, the landing page of the Demo Day, write down a question, and I will have the questions here on my tablet. While here, there is this QR code. You can use your camera to get into the link and ask a question from there. But in the meantime, I do have some of them, and I made my researches, and I know that Qonto is not your first startup, okay? And so what was the first startup? What happened, and why did you start to create another one again? It's crazy. And yeah, a little bit of story about it.
Yeah, first time is crazy. For second time is really stupid to go there. But no, more seriously. So the first company we created with my co-founder Steve was a totally different topic, totally different industry. It was called Smoke.io. It was a smart electronic cigarette, very much in line with the phases you were describing earlier. So it was the beginning of the IoT trend, and also very much like the electronic cigarettes were booming. And so we thought, okay, why don't we combine those 2 trends to help people quit smoking, help quit nicotine, and do the kind of Jawbone or Fitbit for smoking cessation. And so we started that company in 2013, grew it until 2015, and then it was acquired in 2015, 2016. And we went through lots of ups and downs. And in the end, quite a nice end, because we could exit the business, made a bit of money, and reinvested that money into Qonto. And maybe even more importantly, I co-founded Qonto with the same partner, the same co-founder, Steve. And so the very direct link, let's say, between the first company and the second one is that we've done that. I mean, I've done that with the same co-founder.
Oh, and that's not something that happens often, right? I mean, often people get separated, so you were very close still, which is incredible. And And about the phases, I mean, the startup here are trying to fundraise, and you have seen many phases. The first one, then you have many different stages of fundraising. So what are the skills needed for a founder? You obviously, at the very beginning, maybe you didn't have them, you didn't have someone, or has someone guided you, and what were the skills needed?
Yeah, so I think for the seed round, so as I was mentioning, because we had built the first company together, I think what was very important when we did our seed round was that we could really, like without talking much, let's say, we could really prove to our potential investors that we were a strong team, meaning like, you know, we could get along really well with my co-founder, and we could go through the ups and downs together, and, you know, go from starting a company to raising funds to exiting it. And so, of course, that's very reassuring for investors. But I would say very, you know, high level, I would say that seed round is very much about the team. So, you know, each person on the team, but very much the team as a group, as a team. You know, is that team going to last, going to be resilient, going to be, smart about potentially pivoting if needed, and so on. So it's very much about the team. I think the Series A, in our case, Series A was very much about the product and product market fit. Series B was more about revenue and revenue growth, like is the company growing, and by growing meaning like are the revenues growing fast. Series C was very much around unit economics, so is it still growing fast, but also does it make sense from a financial standpoint, like are, you know, payback, LTV to CAC ratios, and those metrics, are they, you know, good, or at least, let's say, are they under control and improving? And Series D, so the one we closed a couple of months ago, is really about scale. And especially like European scale. So Qonto is, you know, relatively big in France. It's still like much smaller, to be fair, in Italy, Germany, and Spain. And so the question all investors were asking is, you know, how fast can you replicate what you've done in France in other markets, and how likely is it that you're going to be the indisputable leader in Europe in 3 or 4 years?
Okay, super cool. And what about the skills in managing a team? Like, I mean, there are teams, obviously the skills needed from 1 to 10, you almost told that it's very tied to the fundraising because you are founders. But later on, from 10 to like 30, 50 people, and then 100 people and more, what are the skills needed in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a very different job, whether you have, I don't know, like let's say 10, 100, and 1,000. I mean, we're not there yet, but we'll probably reach 1,000 employees in the next couple of quarters. And so, I think at the beginning you need to do a bit of everything as a founder, as a CEO. You need to do a bit, you know, kind of Swiss knife, and you do a bit of everything. And you do yourself quite a lot of things. And then when you have 100 people, I think it's a lot about, of course, hiring the right managers, having, you know, the right organizational structure in place, and so on. And then 1,000, or let's say several hundreds of people, I think it's much more about having the right operating system, culture, onboarding, you know, materials. And it has to be like both, let's say, industrialized in a way, but also with still some heart, if I may say, meaning that you need to have like a real purpose, mission, values that are, let's say, unique to your company. And so you need to find the right balance between having something very well organized and systemized, but also very much something that where people feel, okay, I belong to this company, I love this company, I love the mission, I love the purpose, and I feel better here, and I'm learning and I'm growing more here than I could do elsewhere. Because of course, the talent war is really
especially now.
here.
Especially now, it's important. I mean, it's very complicated situation now. So yeah. And okay, I have a ton of questions, but I have a last one from myself, because I have a lot of questions from the audience. But my last one would be, how do you see yourself? Like many founders stop being founders and then start to invest or become like GPs of funds. Do you see yourself like this? Have you ever invested in a startup? Are you ready to be pitched from like the audience? Or?
Yeah, I'm really like 110, 120, 130, I don't know what the number, but like focused on Qonto, and I'm very happy to be doing that for the next couple of years. I believe I'm a better entrepreneur than investor. I invested in a few, I don't know, maybe 20 companies or so. Some are doing okay, but some are really not doing well. And some already went bankrupt, to be honest. So probably I'm a better entrepreneur than investor, but I'm getting better. No, I think I'm very happy to also invest because it's a way to, to help other entrepreneurs get started. It's also very interesting, just intellectually to understand new trends, new markets, new products, new services. But I don't know. I cannot plan for the for the long term, but like short or midterm, I definitely don't want to do investing. I want to be focused on growing the business. I think we still have a lot to do. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned 250,000 clients today. Our goal is to get to 1 million clients very soon. Wow. Further expand across Europe. So I'm more than busy at Qonto. But I'm also very happy to invest, from time to time in some companies. So maybe I'll be amazed by the pitches we'll hear, and happy to invest also. Maybe for the startups we'll be pitching.
I do have a question which is super interesting to me. Someone is asking you, because I don't have the names, but how did you validate your idea at the beginning in Qonto, and how did you understand that it could be actually a thing? Like when you started to smell the product market fit?
Yeah, that's a good question. And actually, going back very quickly to the first company we founded, so 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗕, which was in the end an okay success, but not a big success, let's say. I think it was the idea was, we thought as former consultants, we thought, okay, IoT is a big thing, electronic cigarette is a big thing, so let's do connected electronic cigarettes. And that was very theoretical, and it was, the business was okay, but not amazing. Let's put it that way. For Qonto, we did something very different. We actually started from ourselves. We said, okay, we as entrepreneurs had to, start, build, and grow that first company, 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗕, and we started listing what was a pain, and we said, fair pricing, and so we started from that, cocktail. And we've kept on, working on these three big pieces, three pillars, and that's how we got started. So really, I think the main takeaway is it's really important to work on a real problem and a real pain that people have, or companies have. So it might be, your problem, and you're trying to solve your problem or problem you've met, or some other's problem. But I think the main thing is, let's make sure you really solve a real problem, because if you're working on an interesting idea but no one has that problem, the go-to-market is going to be much more difficult, of course. And
how did you understand that you were solving a real problem from the market? What was the first feedback that you were, okay, this is great?
Well, actually, there were quite a few, I remember Facebook groups at the time. I mean, they still exist. There's a French Facebook group called French Startuppers. It's not super, and but there are probably like 10 or 20,000 members there. I remember lots of people were complaining, asking, "I hate my bank. Do you have any recommendation for efficient, fast, transparent, business banking solution?" And lots of people were, commenting, "Oh no, unfortunately, I don't have. It's not better with my bank. But please, if you find a good solution, let me know." Like lots of comments like that. And so we actually got in touch with all these people, just by messaging, "Hey, I'm Alex. I'm working on a business banking startup. Will you have 10 minutes to tell me, what are your pains? What could be improved in your mind, and so on. And so we interviewed, I think, 150 people, more or less. A couple we knew, like around us, founders or entrepreneurs around us, but also a lot that we didn't know. And everyone came up with the same feedback. The product is bad, the customer support is horrible, prices are not transparent. And so that's how it started. And then we, of course, iterated, so had, mock-ups, wireframes, and even like sometimes drawings saying, hey, what do you think? If we could do that, would you like it or not? Most people said, yeah, I would like it. So then we said, okay, well, let's build it as fast as possible. We came up with MVP and started, the classical stuff.
The classical stuff, yeah.
But it was no magic. But I think really starting from a real, everyday problem was very important, and not trying to second guess what might be the problem, but really to ask, very regularly some feedback. I think maybe just one more comment is that it's important to get, some real user feedback, but not ask too much like friends and family feedback, because you don't care whether your friends think it's a good or a bad idea, or whether your parents...
They will never tell you that it is not working.
Everyone will tell you it's a bad idea. Like all your parents and friends, of course, like entrepreneurship is risky, and usually you ask people around you that might not be entrepreneurs, or not always, so they will probably say, oh yeah, it's super risky. You really like trying to compete with banks? Oh no, you should not do that, it's really risky, blah, blah. But so I think it's really important to talk to real potential clients, and not kind of people around you that are not the potential target. Okay,
7 minutes left. There's another question which is kind of interesting. So you founded the first startup in France, right? And then you decided to open it up and found the second one, Qonto, in France again. And sometimes here in Italy especially, people are not keen to open up in Italy. They don't believe that it is a cool market to be in. So how did you decide, apart of personal stuff, of course, to open it up in France? And I added on it, why did you choose as like Italy as one of the first markets after France?
Well, first, I think Italy is a great market, so you should found, especially if you're Italian, you should found your company in Italy, and I think you shouldn't try and do something elsewhere. I think coming back to your question, like starting and having a company take off is really hard. So I think you'd rather do that in a market well, in a market you understand well, where you have your network, where you can hire some people. Maybe you have some ways to start with a small budget. Maybe do it from your apartment or whatever. So I think this matters quite a bit. And again, like knowing people, knowing the network, knowing the system is very important. Depends, of course, on the industry and the type of business. But I think it's very important to first prove something before trying to go too quickly to whatever, to the US or whatever. Because no one is waiting for you in the US. So on average. And then on the Qonto side, we really started with the ambition of having a European, company, solution, service from day one. That's why we chose the name Qonto, by the way, which was very European by nature. The first domain we had was qonto.eu. Now it's .com, but it's just to give you the spirit. Everything was English first. So all the internal, knowledge, documentation, communication was in English from day one.
You spoke in English right from the first day.
We didn't speak English because most of the early team members were French, but we were writing in English. So everything.
You were writing in English.
So after 12 months or no, not even 12 months actually, maybe more, maybe less, sorry, like maybe 6 or 7 months, we had our first non-French speakers joining the team. And so from day one, we could tell them, look, you can access everything, the internal, knowledge is everything is in English. And then, of course, we started speaking in English in meetings and so on. But so that was very important. And also from day one, we had the whole service, even though we were only addressing the French market, we had the whole service in both French and English. So the app was in French and English. Customer support was both in French and English. 98 or 99% of our clients were speaking French, but it was important for us to already have this kind of expansion and European footprint in mind. And then it was very easy, or let's say much easier, to add Italian, Spanish, and German when we expanded. And we just chose the 3 largest markets outside of France within the European Union, very, let's say, rationally. And that's how we chose.
It's super cool. Okay, I think the time is over, right? Okay, thank you. The time is over. Again, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.